Today in the Boot Guide, we are looking at the Magog by Kodiak Boots. So it's not uncommon for me to say to you guys that this type of boot is an introduction to heritage type footwear. Well, the Magog falls right in there. Full leather welted boot with a rubber slip resistant sole. Now Kodiak Boots, they're a Canadian company. They are really building boots for the environment in which the company exists. So the Magog having 200 grams of Thinsulate just kind of makes sense. It's tape sealed and treated waterproof leather, but they also include a waterproof membrane, which makes the Magog a pretty nice introduction to boots for a guy. Now there's a few details in this thing that I like, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't like. Mainly, I don't like the fact that the sole is so thin, being a cold weather boot, that you're pretty close to the ground. But when you really think about the Magog, what you're ending up with is an introduction to boots, or just something that a guy can wear for an hour or two outside. This is not going to be an all-day boot. This is not going to be a work boot. But it is going to be a boot that is going to protect you from the cold and the elements a heck of a lot better than a sneaker will. Now, I love the way they put the leather in the tongue together, the way they build these sections, and I also love the leather that they use. Now, I get a lot of emails and a lot of questions about boot care and about leather care and all that stuff. The Magog, the leather they're using, this oil tan brown leather, is going to suck up oil like you will not believe. It's always going to look nice and greasy and just beautiful. At the same time, soft leather like this, if you live in a state that in the colder seasons, in the winter, when they're salting the roads or people salt their sidewalks, leather like this is going to take on salt lines really, really quickly. So you're going to have some sort of regiment in place in order to get rid of the salt. Now, I got all kinds of solutions to that. If you got any questions about getting rid of salt in boots, shoot me over an email. I'll try to answer those questions as quickly as possible. But back to the Magog, right? So inside what you find is microfiber. Yeah, the same stuff that they're going to make couches out of, the same stuff that they're going to make dog beds out of, they put inside the boot. Now they're backing it to that 3M Thinsulate insulation inside there, which makes for a really nice insulation. Now it's only 200 grams of insulation. So in my opinion, that's like putting on an extra pair of wool socks, but it's one less thing you got to put on your foot because you got the insulation built into the boot. Down below in the insole section, it is a hard footboard, so orthotics and extra footbeds, you can incorporate them into this boot to make it a little bit more comfortable if you need to do that. But Kodiak is sending along a memory foam insole. Memory foam, not really a fan of it, not really one of my favorites. But they did take the time to line it with a nice piece of leather. It's a goat skin leather. And when you put the two together, it makes for a very comfortable boot right out of the box. Now, the hardware, I gotta talk about this hardware. It's a non-corrosive metal hardware. Corrosive, in this situation, in this type of boot, what we're talking about is salt, water, and the elements. They're not gonna rust out. They're not gonna get hard. They're not gonna crack off. They're put in pretty nice. For the type of boot this is, the hardware they chose and how they chose to sink it into the leather and how many layers they're going through and just the finishing is really nice. There's no rough edges. There's nothing to destroy the laces. It's a nice job. Size and fit out of the box. I would go a half size bigger than your regular boots if you're gonna wear heavy duty wool socks in the winter time. Now, if you're gonna break these in slowly, you're gonna buy them in the fall season, or you're gonna buy them and just kind of wear them around for a few days, you can actually get your regular size. But if you plan on really wearing these things out in the cold weather, and I mean the really cold weather, go with a half size bigger. You'll be happy. Your body will thank you, and the warmth inside the boot will thank you in the long run. Now about the sole, I mentioned at the beginning, it's a slip resistant rubber outsole. But this type of rubber in extreme colds, it is going to slow down. It is going to get a little bit harder, but you're still going to have traction when you're out in the cold and the wet and the ice. So that's the Insulated Magog by Kodiak Boots. Hey, if you currently got a pair of these Magogs, or if you've ever owned a pair of Kodiak boots in the past, please leave a comment below. Let guys know what you think about the brand. If you got the Magog, let guys know what you think about the Magog or anything from the Kodiak line. Hey, if you're interested in knowing more about the Magog, or if you want to see some of the detailed photos that I took of this beautiful boot, swing by thebootguy.com. I'll have a blog post entitled Magog there waiting for you. Hey, please don't forget to hit my subscribe button below because it really does help out. And remember, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, I'm there all day long. You can always find me there. I'm taking interesting photos of boots like this and other boots around, putting it out there so we can have a discussion about it. Hey, if you're about to order a pair of these Magogs and you got some questions about size or fit or anything like that, remember, you can always shoot me over an email. All right, until the next time, I'm the Boot Guy. Thanks a lot for watching.